Today I'm going to be showing you how I put together this fabric postcard dog for my Kooky Postcard Sew Along prompt of Doggust. So stick around and you can see how the process went for this particular little woofer. So the inspiration for my postcard this month for Doggust was this pop art dog, and I saw him on Pinterest and I thought that would be a nice subject to do as a postcard. So what I did was I've sketched out my doggo here on this side, and I've kind of got an idea that I want him to go on a black felt background because I quite liked the fact that you've got some kind of an outline going on, and that would mean easier to pull off because you are lying onto a felt background, and then lay fabrics on top in layers to try and get the effect I was looking for. So first of all, what I have done, I can just pull this in, is to literally, the sun's just come out. It was beautiful filming situation beforehand, but now sun's come out. Anyway, we'll persevere. So what I've got here is a piece of it's a piece of felt as a backing, and I laid my fabrics on top. I've done my usual stitching up and down to get some kind of holding tacking, but the tacking always stays in place for me. I never take tacking stitches out. I try and do them in a way that kind of adds a little bit of something. So I've done them in a fluorescent red for this one. And then where all the joins are, where all the fabric is, what I've done is I've done kind of a chain stitch there, an oversew stitch there, an oversew stitch there. I didn't stitch that one down because I've done some running stitches going the opposite way there. But what I want to do is to recreate my dog. So what I have done is I've cut out the outside shape. So I traced this bit and cut out black felt in the shape of. And we've kind of got this going on at the minute. This is kind of all my little pieces that I need to stick down and stitch down. And I'm also thinking that the eyes need to maybe go up a little bit more, perhaps. I'm just getting positionings right, but that's easy to do. I'm going to stitch into his mouth area because it's not going to be this doggo had an open mouth, which is quite cute, but I wanted my dog to be more of a cutie boy, so he's just going to have his tongue stuck out, so that little bit there is his tongue, and he's going to have some stitching going around here. So I'm going to stitch into him, and yeah, I think what I need to do first of all is just put a little bit of fabric glue on just to hold it in place. So I've got this old Pritt stick here, this will do. Pritt stick or tacking temporary fabric glue does the trick, but this one should just hold it in place enough for me to be able to stitch into it. So with colour choices, I've gone with, it's like a complementary, so the background is orange, so if you have a colour wheel you look opposite orange, it's going to be like a bluey colour. So I tried to stick within those ranges. If you want something to pop out, as in pop art, you want something to be a complementary colour, which means that it's opposite whatever colour you've chosen on the colour wheel. So those are his inner ear bits. I didn't draw out the pieces of fabric that I'm putting on now. I kind of just eyeballed it, and you can just trim parts off that you don't need. So if something's a little bit big, I just literally eyeballed it. So I'm trimming as I'm going with the tiny bits of fabric, and then just laying them on and seeing if I need to trim any more off. And basically that's how I built it up. That's not going to stay, is it? Let's put a little bit more on there. Maybe that I need a different glue stick. This one is quite an old one, but still a goodie. Okay, so I'm going to put his muzzle piece of fabric on there. You can build up as many layers as you like with this as well. You just keep adding on. So for his chest, for example, I could put another layer in there as well if I wanted to. I'm just quite happy with that at the minute, so I'm not overdoing it. Yeah, this is getting ready for being thrown away. He is not a happy boy. Well, the doggy is. The glue stick is not. Let's stick his nose on there, like so. I'm not going to stick his tongue down just yet because I want to see the position of where the stitches go. So I'm just going to put that to one side where I can see it. I might glue his eyes down. On the reference one, you can build up lots of layers if you want to. I'm trying to keep this simple for this one, just to get a simple shape that I don't need to have too much detail into. Let's get his eyes on there. What I'm thinking of, I might put some brads through there as well to hold that on. My usual love of brads. I'm going to stick this down, this chest part, so that goes underneath his chin. And then this bit is, this is basically just to hold everything in place. I'm not trying to stick it permanently. I'm just trying to get it to a stage where it's gonna just hold it while I stitch it. That one is better like that. So yeah, I've got that little tongue part left over that I'm going to add in when I've added in some stitching. So before I put him fully onto his piece, I'm going to stitch into this as it is because it's nice and stiff with the black felt behind it. And I'm going to stitch down all the pieces, maybe add a few more decorative stitches in as I go along, but I'll come back and show you what I have done when I've got this stitched down, and you can see the process of what I have done. Now, do I put the brad eyes in now? That's the question. Or do I wait? I think I kind of like to get them in there, so I'll go and find my brads and we'll put them in. So I'm back with the finished postcard, and I will talk you through what I've done while I've been sitting and stitching. So we got to the part where I'd glued all these down with some Pritt stick that I had left over. I think that one needs to be binned, but for now it can just wait over in the glue pot. So yes, I stitched down all the little parts that make up the dog. I've also outlined different areas because if we look on our example, he's got black stitching to define the area where his mouth or where his chin was. So I added that into this boy. Yeah, stitched all around the edges before I attached it to the card. So I went around everything that was there, singular pieces. The brads I also put in at that point as well. So they are in there too, before I stitched it to the backing, which I showed you. Also added in some beads and sequins. Then that was stitched down to the background. And then I decided, because this is a pop art dog, what I wanted to do is add a little Romero Brito-esque crown and a little heart. So I got my trusty glittery material that is sold by Paper and String. I'll leave the details to Paper and String down in the description box, because they do have some fantastic stuff on there. But I really do love their glitter fabric that they have. And I always buy loads of that because I love it. And so I stuck a piece of the glitter fabric onto some felt that's been sewn on, and the little heart was also sewn on. I put it on the black so that it's got some kind of an outline, so it's more pop arty. I thought I'd finished, and then I thought, oh, I need to put a little I need to put a little speech bubble on there. So I stitched woof onto this piece of felt backing here, and then I put that onto the black felt. I just had a tiny bit of black felt with me, so it was kind of scarce, but it still works. And stitched into some of the background as well once I got my dog in place, and I can see which areas are going to be seen. I did actually stitch into there before I decided to put woof on it. If you can see there, I've got little some blue cross stitches, but I sacrificed that in order to put that on there because I thought it finished itself quite nicely. What I then did was, because you could see all the stitches on the back, I have got some of this felt. It's a craft felt. I can't even remember where I got it from. It could have been from Tiger, it could have been from the Works. Can't remember exactly where it was from. Kind of think it was from Tiger. And it's like a printed felt. Paper and String also do this. Theirs is a really good quality one. This is it's an okay quality, but I'm using some of it up now for backing because really I could use it for other things as well. It's been really good. I got about 3 packets of it at the time. But what I did was, there was this colourway which I thought went quite nicely with the postcard. So I cut out myself a backing, and I have blanket stitched all the way around so that all the stitches and the brads and everything else that's underneath is now hidden underneath there. You don't need to do that. This is just me because I was considering whether to frame it or not, because I really, really enjoyed making this and I really like it. And I wouldn't mind doing some others in this series, but this is for the Doggust prompt challenge for the Kooky Postcard SAL. If you don't know about that, come along to the the Cool Kooky Creatures group on Facebook, which I will also leave a link down below in the description box. And every month we get a prompt that we're working to. So for this month's prompt, it was Doggust, which is all to do with dogs. If you're also on Instagram, you'll know there's kind of like an artist's challenge that goes on through the whole of August to do with creating a dog a day. So I'm actually might put him in for my dog of the day today. There is a list of dogs that we're working to. I can't even remember which dog it was. I'm going to check the dog of the day in my little notepad, and it is Hungarian Vizsla. I've done the Havanese, I just haven't crossed him off yet. Hungarian Vizsla. So he may fit into that little category, perhaps, and I can put him up as my dog of the day. I've been doing drawings every day. What I have been doing is 10-minute time drawing sketches of the dogs so far, but because I have spent a lot of time doing this, he will probably go in for that maybe as well. So yes, we have got our dog drawing. As I say, the inspiration was this guy here. He was on Pinterest, and I thought I want to do something similar, but I wanted him to be a bit more goofy. He's quite a happy boy, isn't he? And this one, he's got his tongue hanging out. King for the day. I need to think of a name for him now as well. I have to name everything. If you've been with me for a while, you'll know of my obsession with naming everything. So he is now done. I kind of skipped over how I put together the background, and I did tell you that I just kind of winged it with these pieces just to fit the shape that I was doing. So if you were going to do this, all you need to do is to get your photograph of your dog or a dog, and you can then outline, just cut around it so that you get the outline, and then you can get your black felt the right size, and then you just fit the pieces in to match wherever they fit. And it's just trial and error really, and just trimming things down and then re-trimming things if they don't quite fit, and just seeing how it goes. But once you've got your black outline, you can play around with it, and that's what I did with this one. And then obviously it had a bit of bling because it's me. So it had to have some bling added into it somewhere. And that's it really. I hope you've enjoyed having a look at how these are put together. If you're interested in how I do my backgrounds and all the other things, there are other videos available that show you how I put them together. But next time I promise I will show how I lay out the backgrounds of things as well. This one I kind of just got into it and then realised that I should have been filming it. But basically it's just laying out fabrics. In this case it was strips of fabric. Sometimes it's like squares and odd shapes of pieces that I put together, but this was just really simple strips just laid on there and then just sewn into. And as I say, the dog was put together ad hoc really, and I think he worked out quite well. I might want to do a little more of this, but I might want to do some thread painting over the top. That's what I'm thinking. But that'll be for a future video. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed looking at this. If you have, don't forget to show me a thumbs up. If you click the like on the video, then that helps with the algorithm. Also, if you would care to subscribe to the channel, it costs you nothing, as does being a member of the Facebook group. No cost at all, but it does mean that when I do projects where you have a pattern that I've designed, I will give you the pattern for free if you're a member of the Facebook group. You can go and collect it there from the files section. But this one, I don't really think I could do this as a... I maybe could make a pattern of it, perhaps, but I think it's probably best that you do it with a dog of your choice. This was my dog of choice. He's basically from my memories of a dog. But yeah, anyway, that's it from me. I'll be back here very soon with something else. Bye for now.